Good morning, everybody. So today we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about connection and interconnection beyond the digital age. But to understand where we are now, we have to look back, right? So revolution, it's a noun. We all know what it means. It's a sudden or radical or complete change. It's an activity or movement that completely changes the socio-political aspect of things, or it's just a paradigm shift. We've had a lot of revolutions in human history, but we're going to talk about industrial revolutions just for a moment. So a little bit of history. First industrial revolution started with the steam engine and allowed us to mechanize things. Really allowed humans to maximize their production and become more efficient. And what this really did for us, other than just economically, was allow us to start urbanizing our civilization. We went from agrarian and was able to build and just really come together and start building the cities that we know and love today. We moved into the second industrial revolution. Here we discover electricity. Here we discover assembly lines. Here we discover interchangeable parts. But like the first industrial revolution, it allowed us to start accelerating that urbanization and that centralization of the way that we work and live. Because of this, we are able to start connecting with people on a more regular basis. Just to bring it back to the whole connection piece, right? So because of this, the assembly lines and everything like that allowed us to really start looking about how we could start moving forward, and we did. In the early to mid 2000s, or I'm sorry, 20th century, we had the digital revolution, right? So here we're talking about micro miniature processors, we're talking about microchips. Central to this was the widespread use of digital logic, okay? This started enabling us to use technologies that we all know and love today. We're talking about cell phones, we're talking about pagers for those of y'all who remember those. But most importantly, we're also talking about things that really allow us to start connecting even more, like the internet, right? So the internet is the big driver behind where we're moving to now as a civilization, which is the fourth industrial revolution. It's a new concept. Term was coined in 2016, but what it is, it's the next iteration of where we're going as a people. It's now we're combining gene editing. We're combining a lot of the other biologicals. We're combining that with AI and things like that. These fundamental shifts are taking place that really allow our global production and the way that we work and live to morph again. But we need to take a moment. As we look towards the future, we need to think about what drives us and why we're doing the things that we're doing as a civilization, and that's connection. As we continue to move forward, we're running at such a fast pace, trying to do the next best thing, get the next piece of tech. We're forgetting the people that actually make it worthwhile. From a technological perspective, we call that interconnection. Interconnection is just a capability for machines, servers, and things like that to talk to each other digitally on the back end, things that we don't see on a day-to-day basis. Just like connections and interconnections, connections happen in physical locations. We forget that. The cloud is a physical thing somewhere. But just like when we connect with people, we have to have a physical location to connect with them, right? A place where we can all get together, learn who we are, and things like that. The same goes for the cloud and for the digital space. So all those servers, all those compute equipment, all that stuff sits in a real physical location. This right here is the Nap of the Americas. It's an 8-story, 1 city block tall facility in downtown Miami. The next picture is another facility. QTS in Atlanta. This is my campus, 70 acres. 350 megawatts of power go through that space every day. Largest consumer of electricity in the state of Georgia, past the airport. This right here, another 8-story facility in downtown Dallas. These facilities are where Amazon, Netflix, and all the other ways and companies that have an electrical footprint or a digital footprint live. These facilities are huge. Hallways, buildings, just filled with electrical. Right, like I mentioned, 350 megawatts of power, and my one campus is enough to power 15,000 homes. All those servers and computers generate so much heat. I have massive chiller plants, 22,000 tons in just one of my 4 buildings, enough to cool 5,000 homes in the dead of summertime. All that infrastructure is there to support and enable that digital interconnection. That digital interconnection is what is propelling us into the fourth industrial revolution. It's what drives our society. In the enterprise spaces, they store our digital footprint. Hewlett-Packard and everyone else that we might utilize to do our taxes and whatnot have their own enterprise data centers. Co-location facilities, right? They're where people come and rent space so that your servers and my servers can talk together in shared space. Hyperscalers, social media. All these pictures and all these things that you see up here, each one of these strands of fiber represents thousands and thousands of gigabits per second that interconnect the world. This right here is a map of the subsea cable system that crossed the globe, right? This is the physical aspect of the cloud. Once again, the digital interconnection is something we're always talking about and running towards, but we need to remember why we do these things, why we have this technology, why we built these infrastructures and these networks. It's to connect people. And that is something as we continue to move forward, we need to keep in mind, right? People, interconnections, memories, me and my sisters taking a road trip together, things like this. This is why we do what we do every day, right? Going to help New Orleans after Katrina. This is why connection is just as important as interconnection in our digital age.